Hello everyone, I'm Elena, welcome back to my channel Enough of Propaganda. Please like, subscribe, share, write comments. Let's make truth available for everyone. This is what helps to promote it on YouTube. Thank you. Now let's say a couple words about Russian involvement. Russian forces, including FSB officer Igor Girkin Strelkov, were already in Crimea on February 21st, 2014, before Yanukovych's departure. Russian troops played a significant role in the occupation of Crimea, and Girkin Strelkov himself personally played a significant role. It was around 73,000 Russian troops, regular army troops, taking part in Russian occupation of Crimea. The occupation continues for 2 days, while democratically elected president of Ukraine Yanukovych was still in Kiev, in his chair of the president of the country of Ukraine. Before continuing to showing Russian involvement and facts and proofs and what else happened in Donbass, I want to show you again that Girkin Strelkov, Igor Girkin Strelkov, a Russian citizen, FSB officer, and you can see it in my video what happened to Crimea in 2014 part 1. More like his speech about it. He said and confirmed that he had been in Crimea since February 21st, 2014. And he told about what happened, and the same thing happened in Donbass. So he and some FSB officers and stuff like that, and bandits and some military went to Donbass after Crimea, and they did exactly the same thing. They were instigating it, and some protests was happening by itself, but they were basically involved in the violent part. They taught the separatists how to take over buildings, they give them weapons, and they started the war in Ukraine. That's what Igor Girkin Strelkov said. He confirmed it in several videos. I have the whole playlist on him. You can watch it in separately from this video. And he played a key role in the Russian attack on Ukraine and started the war in Ukraine in 2014, encompassing Crimea and Donbass. He openly admitted his involvement on camera, expressing pride in his actions. Extensive investigations conducted by the Bellingcat investigation team and the Insider confirmed they both, Igor Girkin Strelkov and Igor Platnitsky, who led the self-proclaimed Lugansk People Republic, LPR, they were sent to Ukraine by FSB, Russia. Why? Because they were traveling at the time with fake passports issued by the FSB. The invasion of Crimea and the 2 territories in Donbass, Ukraine by Russia in 2014 was an act of aggression and gross violation of international law, marking the beginning of the war in Ukraine.
Действительно, если бы наш отряд не пришел на Донбасс и не стал бы ядром сопротивления, ядром русской весны на Донбассе, то, скорее всего, без этого ядра русская весна была бы подавлена в зародыше.
There was not enough those people who wanted to join Russia, and many of them were Russian citizens who came to instigate in Ukraine. There are lots of evidence of Russian war crimes. This is pro-Russian and Russian terrorists shooting at Donetsk airport from the apartment building. And this is not Ukrainian footage. This is not even Vice News. This is Russia, channel number 1. They were stupid enough to show their war crimes in main channel of Russian TV.
Ну, лифт здесь уже давно не работает, потому что в доме нет электричества. Послушайте, я вижу...
He's saying that the elevator in the house not working since long ago, because there is no electricity. And they talking to Russian grandma who still lives there. And here they're shooting from the same apartment building.
Этажом выше работает сейчас АГС, это автоматический гранатомет в сторону аэропорта, потому что там активизировалась украинская армия.
Вот четко видно, смотрите, по жилым домам.
he is saying that this grenade launcher is shooting at the airport. They are shooting from apartment buildings. Ukrainians return the fire. Either side has Soviet weapons, which isn't precise, and that's how happens civilian casualties. They are saying that Grad is working and shooting in perimeter around this building. He's not sure whether it hit the roof of the building or not, and they're not even concerned about a grandma who they just talked to, but yet he's kind of feel threatened that they might hit the building. Ukrainians might hit the building. This is a Motorola, Russian citizen. He is dead now, but he is shooting in this video on both sides and at his own people. And that's the way how he was waking people up.
Утренняя зорька.
This is dawn.
Бо у нас все немножечко спят,
Everybody sleeping here.
война людей не ебет.
Там никого нету.
And he's swearing.
Вон туда лучше стрелять.
They shoot over there.
Нет, туда зачем стрелять?
Там же враг.
Said, why do you shoot me?
Долбоебы-то спят у нас здесь.
Your
Понимаешь?
own people.
А
He
жили
said that you shoot your own people because they sleeping here. They're not shooting at anybody else, like opposition or anything, enemies. No, he's shooting his own people. As you can see, it's civilian buildings.
Будем ждать, пока люди начнут просыпаться.
Everything. They're happy about it.
Ну просыпаемся, ребята.
Wake up,
А?
guys.
Дрочить мы долго будем, блядь.
Another swearing.
Оператив позитив.
This video is showing like terrorists, separatists, shooting from the grads at the same time in two different sides. To Ukrainians, they call them ukrops, which is deal in English, and peaceful people of those self-proclaimed so-called republics. As you can see, they're pointing in two different directions, like those grads. Now it's important. Listen what they has to say. You hear the laughter, you've seen them shooting in both directions, and then some people some trolls or some maybe real people writing to me and saying, you have not been in Donetsk and Lugansk. You don't know how Ukraine was shelling us. These three examples show basically Motorola shooting at his own people, and then Russian news media saying that, oh, Ukraine is shooting, and the same day after Motorola shot it at his own people, the Russian news was saying, oh, how Ukraine shooting at peaceful civilians. This is how they were shooting at Donetsk and Lugansk republics. And these people were thinking Ukraine is shelling them. But important to listen further. And the man is swearing and saying, kind of like, Merry Christmas or something. Wish you good holidays, Ukrainians. So it's obviously not Ukrainian army. This is Donetsk, the district Cherokee, 1st of January of December 2014. And this is Russians posted because they called Ukrainians derogatory names and they speak in Russian in the video, and they're saying that separatists are shelling Ukrainians. This is Donetsk, 9th of May 2015, when separatists brought Ukrainian prisoners of war and walked them on the streets, and people were insulting them, throwing things at them and stuff like that. So the human rights activists saw that as a war crimes. On April 21st, 2014, Vice News reporter Simon Ostrovsky was abducted by armed pro-Russian militants in Sloviansk, Ukraine. In this video, after Ukraine recaptured Sloviansk, Simon Ostrovsky came to the basement where he was held, where he was beat up, and the Russian guy was saying, "You look pitiful." And he was kind of crawling on the ground and get beat up and imprisoned in this basement. And that's what he's telling about in this video. Ostrovsky is saying how he was handcuffed and what was happening to him. If they could kidnap the foreign journalist, a journalist, and this is what happened to him, imagine what happened to people who defenseless, who isn't important of any kind, so nobody gonna look for them or complain. We know what happened, and I'll show you a little later. Also, I showed in the video about Bucha. Before Bucha was Sloviansk, and little later in these videos, Ostrovsky will show how they digging up graves in Sloviansk, and where there are Russian crimes, kind of like in Bucha. It happened in Sloviansk and several other Ukrainian places in 2014. He told more about his kidnapping. He was not just kidnapped, he was beat up and tortured. And lucky for him, just because he was a foreigner, he was released eventually. Without too much major damage anyways. Because many people at the time had just disappeared. They never come back from taking, like they call them, into the basement. The same thing Russia doing right now in 2022 and now in Russian occupied territories like Kherson, Bucha, Irpin, Izium, everywhere, and Mariupol. This is Sloviansk, Ukraine, in April 2014, when Simon Ostrovsky, talking to a mayor of Sloviansk, so-called mayor, self-appointed basically, and so on. So you're welcome to watch the videos and see who were those people, what did they do, how did they look like. After Ukraine recaptured Sloviansk, the citizens pointing fingers at each other saying, "You Russian, you pro-Russian, or you not," and so on, trying to accuse each other of being traitor. Pieces of this video I showed you in the film about Bucha and Sloviansk, and this is what I was just talking about. July 24th, 2014. That's when the bodies were found in Sloviansk, and you're welcome to watch this video. These men were killed just so the Russians could take their car. And in the same video, there is information and facts about Girkin Strelkov, where they were found the orders of execution of people signed by Strelkov and how it was found, and all about this you could see in this video as well. As Mr. Katz correctly pointed out, that in the whole 8 years that Russia created those so-called republics, never was killed that many people and young men as happened in the first few months after the Russia started full-scale invasion in February 2022. Today, after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, when Putin started the bloodiest war in Europe since 1945, this is just one of the examples, Russia annexed both illegal republics of Donbass and even more Ukrainian territories into Russian Federation. Hundreds of thousands of lives have been lost. The region's infrastructure and the infrastructure of Ukraine has been devastated by deliberate bombings by Russia. Russia don't even hide in that they're doing it deliberately. People in Donbass are getting bombed. Russia grabbing young men from Donbass from the streets and forcing them to fight for Russia against Ukraine. The situation in Russian occupied territories became so bad that practically not many men of young age left in there. Putin has got away with bombing Chechnya into submission. Putin didn't stop after that. He didn't stop after Russia grabbed parts of Georgia and Ukraine, Crimea and 2 so-called republics in Donbass. And Putin will continue to build new Russian empire. Putin's defeat will send a clear message to any other dictator that it is not okay to attack and take another country's territory. This will prevent aggression from countries like China towards their neighbors. And now Putin keep making fires all over the world, instigating things, and the recent attack on Israel is one of the things what Putin does. This is awful. They considered it as independent country from that point. They wasn't part of Russia yet, and even they wanted to be. For 8 years, Russia didn't bother to deal with them and didn't want them to be part of Russia. Because the whole point of creating those little sores on the body of Ukraine, it's to be able to keep bothering Ukraine and keep attacking Ukraine and creating unrest. And make it impossible for Ukraine to join, for example, NATO if Ukraine choose to. But I reminding you, I have several videos about NATO. In 2014, there was no question of Ukraine joining NATO. Yeah, Russia and Ukraine in the past talking about joining NATO. Even Russia wanted to join NATO in 2000, 2008. But neither country joined NATO. And in 2014, there was no even question and conversation about this. Russia attacked Ukraine for no reason whatsoever, by Putin's imperial ambitions. In conclusion, the Russian aggression in Crimea and Donbass in 2014 was a crucial moment in recent history. It's not only changed the geopolitical landscape, but also brought enormous suffering to the people of Ukraine and many other people in the world. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this video informative, please like, share, subscribe to my channel. And for more content like this, and until next time, learn the truth and stay informed. Thank you for watching. See you later.